more comfortable with the decision that I'd come to. It was, God told me to do this. And now once I've said that, I've got to defend that. And that's why so many people, even though when you're discussing the ideas and not the individual, get defensive. Not just because they're core beliefs, but because they're invested in them personally.
Right. And I've actually, one of the exact statements I read, I was on a satanic forum, and it was the modern Satanism, which was a more atheistic type. And I was saying the idea of personal belief stems from, I said it was a valid argument because there's also the brain in the vat theory, which is, like if you were in a matrix, you would have no way of perceiving that. Right. Or similarly, the idea that you can't know anybody else exists, you can only know you exist. Mm-hmm. And the response I got to that was, just because nobody can truly perceive reality doesn't mean you can redefine it willy-nilly to your religious prejudices.
Absolutely.
And that completely shut me down. And then that day and the next day, because I've been reading The God's Delusion by Dawkins, and I was just thinking, it's really convincing that I should not base my beliefs on something that I have no way of actually knowing. And I also have some other things I was wanting to talk to you about that stem from the idea that if there is no God, then, we can say if there is a God, then it's possible there's an absolute morality. But if there's no God, then I'm arguing that there is no absolute morality, and further that there's no such thing as rights, that rights are kind of an illusion enacted by people's will and like how people generally want to be treated and whether or not they have the power. I think it all comes from power.
I think the God issue is completely irrelevant because I have my perception of what is moral, and it doesn't matter to me if there is a God. If it turns out that this God in the Bible is actually real and I got to face him someday, then my first thing is, wait a minute, is this book an accurate representation of your beliefs? Because if you believe slavery is wrong, then we got a problem because I think you're an immoral ass. Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't matter whether there's a God as to whether or not there's that is nothing more than might makes right. I made the rules and I'm going to enforce them. And my response is, okay, I can't stop you from squashing me like a bug, but that doesn't make you morally right, and it doesn't make you morally superior. And if you do decide to squash me like a bug, well, I'll die with the confidence of knowing that I wasn't a prick like you. Now, this issue of
I guess that's your answer to Pascal's wager.
Yeah, if this issue of whether or not there can be, or whether or not rights exist, of course not. It's a construct. We grant people rights. It's not like there's some universal constant that is rights equals blah blah blah. Yeah. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that they're they're constructs. It doesn't matter that everything that we know, everything that we've ever experienced, taking a tip from Carl Sagan about us all being on this tiny, insignificant blue dot in the cosmic sense, and yet that blue dot contains every person who's currently alive and every person who's ever lived, every song that's ever been written, every book that's ever been written, every thought that's ever been thought, as far as we know, everything that is within our entire experience. Every idea and moral value, every concept of rights, every concept of the universe that around us that we are aware of that represents humanity, it all comes from there. It doesn't matter that it came from us. It doesn't make it any less significant. I'd argue it makes it more significant.
It's more special anyway.
It's certainly more significant to us.
There you go.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot, Dylan.
Sure. Have a great time, and I love the show. Keep doing it. And I wish I lived in Austin. I'd try and, apply to be on the show as a host or something.
Okay, doke. Well, if you ever make it down to Austin, let us know.
All right.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
We've got about 5 minutes or so left in the show, if this clock's right, because I can't see that clock. Yeah, it's about 5 minutes. Quick reminders of things that are coming up. Vic Stinger will be in town. It's the 29th.
That's right.
It's a Thursday evening. It's a joint event between ACA and CFI. If you're in the Austin area, you can find out more by going to the website, www.atheist-community.org. It's a one-day only type of thing where we're going to have a quick speaking engagement and then dinner afterwards. There's more information up there.
And we're going to be doing a little video interview of him that will be on our Blip TV website. That'll be kind of a conversation, an interview with Vic Stinger, that we'll be able to share, outside of Austin.
And on November 14th, I believe, which is a Saturday, could be the 15th. I'd have to double check. 14th or 15th, whichever one's the Saturday, that's the Texas Free Thought Convention. You can go to texasfreethoughtconvention.com for more information. That'll be in San Antonio. All the information needs up there. Dan Barker, Vic Stinger, I don't know. There's a laundry list of people who will be coming down to speak on that day, and a lot of events for families as well. They're trying to make it as family friendly as possible. Stuff for the kids to do. If you're in Texas, this is a Texas-wide thing. Last year it was in Austin. This year it's in San Antonio.
Great networking opportunity.
I'll be going down, and it's a good opportunity, as Don said, to get the disparate groups together so that we can establish better communication and let people know what's going on. That way, the San Antonio group doesn't decide to have a river walk on the same night as our bat cruise. We could set them a week apart, and we could go to both because it's good stuff.
Yeah, San Antonio is it's another giant city. It's very close to Austin, though.
But Austin's way better. I mean, like way better. What other events? We got the lecture coming up. I don't have the information on it.
Yeah. We'll just have to save it for next time.
I guess we'll try and get one last caller in, maybe two. So we've got Kate from British Columbia. Hello? Kate? Testing. Kate. We lost Kate. Sorry.
Okay.
We got Jason in Tampa.
Yeah, hi.
How are you?
Pretty good. Yeah, I have a question about a Ken Miller quote. You know Ken Miller is of Brown University.
Catholic, evolution supporter.
Exactly.
Instrumental in the case in Dover. Yeah, go ahead.
He's one of the best at defending evolution and demolishing creationism and intelligent design.
Yeah.
Anyhow, he wrote this interesting. I don't know. It's an essay, and part of it's in one of his books. It's called "Does Science Make Belief in God Obsolete?"
Mm-hmm.
One of the quotes I wanted to share. I mean, real quick. He says the categorical mistake of the atheist is to assume that God is natural and within the realm of science to investigate and test. But then he says, and this is what I want your take on, God is not and cannot be part of nature.
I can answer that.
I disagree with both parts, but I'll let Don go.
Well,
go for it.
If there is a God and the God has some sort of effect in the natural world, we can measure that effect. And in fact, we can actually look for a lot of different things where people have made religious claims that God does this or that or the other. God answers prayer, God created the universe, God whatever. There's a lot of claims, and we can investigate those claims. If it's the case that God has no effect on the natural world, then it's irrelevant. He's irrelevant.
Yeah. It's not a category mistake on the part of atheists. We don't define God. We don't assume that God is natural. We address claims made by theists about their God. If somebody says, I believe in a God that's entirely supernatural and has no effect on the natural world and doesn't manifest in any way, well, congratulations. You believe something you can't possibly have a good reason for, and it doesn't matter at all because it can't affect my life or anybody else's. It's not a category mistake. We assess claims. If they're real, they're real. If they're not, they're not. That's how we pretty much determine all reality. I got to let you go. Thanks to everybody on the crew for doing everything that they could to make the show great despite technical problems. We'll be back again next week. Join us down at Threadgill shortly. Bye-bye.